Spring training is 3 weeks away, but this offseason continues to crawl along, especially for the Guardians who are stuck in TV deal hell. So we're going to make some fake trades for them as part of our Let's Make a Deal series to inject some life into this offseason.
You are Locked On Guardians, your daily podcast on the Cleveland Guardians, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. Glad that you are joining us today. Thank you to some of our everydayers out there, like David and John, always out there leaving a comment, which we appreciate. And today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Check out Gametime. Justin uses it to go see
Jonas Brothers concerts.
Jonas Brothers, which is like 3 of them are more than one Bieber, and the Angels we're going to discuss first in one of our trade pieces, where I will tell you I'll be talking about a Bieber, not the current California one, but a different one.
I mean, Justin Bieber might be a solid prospect in the Angels system at this point. Who knows? The way things are going, the Angels, it's kind of rough out there. The AL West is weird. We were talking about the AL West today for trades, and it's a little weird. Some of these divisions have been weird as we have gone through this exercise, and we completed the entire NL. We both concluded that the NL East had nothing to offer for Cleveland for the most part, and I think the NL West or the AL West might be right behind the NL East. Like, it is, there were plenty of deals to be had in the Central. There were some deals to be had in the West. There were absolutely no deals to be had in the NL East, and I think the AL West is right up there with them. It's pretty bad, but Jeff, I do have a blockbuster trade at the end of the show you can wait for.
I had one too, but I had put together a list for the AL East because
that sounds been of late. Just as bad.
So we'll discuss that one later. But starting off with the Angels, correct?
Yeah, we'll go with the Angels. Okay, here's my targets from the Angels. Taylor Ward is an obvious target. Avi, you've been on him for years. I agree with you there. I threw in Brandon Drury. I don't have a deal for Brandon Drury, but I still like him. If Cleveland could go out and get him, I still like him. I'm not sure where he fits, but he makes some sense, and I think the Angels would be inclined to move him for something that could help them out long term, because he's only got 1 year left on his deal, and I just don't see the Angels as serious contenders in the AL West. I think I would imagine they don't see themselves that way either. And then I know
they're making signings like they think they are. I mean, they're trying to strengthen their bullpen. They've got.
They did give Stevenson a deal. They did give more. Their bullpen is interesting, but they're good trade targets for them. If I'm looking at that, I'm looking at that as a way to improve their team, because bullpen guys are always a hot commodity at the trading deadline, especially for left-handed relievers like Matt Moore, who's back over there just to get traded in August or put on the waivers. My third target, not a big one. It's Cam Minacci from last year's draft. I not really realistic, but I just really liked him in last year's draft a ton. I wanted Cleveland to take him, and they didn't. So if there's any way that the Angels feel like they could improve their system by trading him, I would do it. But I don't think it could, because he could be a nice cheap pitcher for them. But I have a deal in there anyway. So I've got one deal, and I might be overpaying, but I don't know. And I got one deal for Minacci that probably isn't anything of significance. But my trade is for Taylor Ward, who the only thing I have here, Taylor Ward is older. I know he's got a lot of club control left, and he's got good skills as far as OBP and power. He's a little bit older. But I have Parker Messick, who I think fits the Angels a ton, because they could put him in the big leagues next year for all we know, because that's how the Angels do work, and he might be ready. Gabriel Arias, he could play third base for them because Anthony Rendon's going to get hurt. Let's just be honest about that, and he seems like the kind of guy they would like. And then I threw in Wilfredo Antunez as kind of a lottery ticket, player there, because that is the thing with Ward, is that he does have club control, so it's going to cost a few pieces to do this. I kind of feel like I'm underpaying here now that I'm looking at this further. So I have Parker Messick, Gabriel Arias, and Wilfredo Antunez for Taylor Ward. I don't know. Like I said, my only thing is he's older.
I think,
and he is coming off a serious injury, and it's not a physical injury, but it's a serious injury. And for people who don't know, it was a facial fracture from a hit by pitch. You don't know how guys are going to recover from that. There have been guys who have come back who have not had
never been the
a
same.
lot of success after that. So it's he's going to be 30. Yeah, he's going to be 30 all year. So what do you think for
I don't think they're going to make their major league team worse for guys who aren't helping. I just don't think that's enough to, especially because we've kind of seen the outfield market is a need for so many people. I just feel like that there's slightly more, because he got hit in the face and we don't know what that is going to be like, but I mean, he'll be 30 and he's not the best defender, but he still had like a 114 weighted runs created plus, I want to say, or 110. It was definitely over 110.
Yeah.
Okay. So it was close, but I mean, he's still productive, not as productive as 2 years ago, but this isn't a situation of like Bieber where the production before the injury was middling. It was still solid.
Yeah, he was +3 outs above average in left field and +2 outs above average in right field. So Ward is a solid defender. You're right. So yeah, I'm going to give my own trade a thumbs down. It's going to take more to get Taylor Ward. So tell me what your trade is, because I know you love Taylor Ward.
So my thought was because of their situation, it's like Joe Adell, people keep thinking is going to be successful. So maybe that is why, they're willing to consider Ward. I first started trying to do what you did and kind of be like, well, maybe it could be like Valera and other pieces. Is like, forget this. So this is a team that could still be active in free agency. There are a lot of DHs out there. So they can afford to trade a bat. So I'm going for Ward and Drury, both.
Okay.
So Cleveland then adds a pair of players that can help them. Trying to remember if they're both Drury, I know, is right-handed, and Ward, I believe, is also right-handed. Helps Cleveland. And I'm trading them Bieber and Freeman, and then I would consider also throwing in Sandlin if that helps get across the finish line. You're getting the big name pitcher, which will make the fans are happy, and their rotation isn't terrible, honestly, right now. I like a lot of pieces in that rotation. Freeman gives them a little more depth. He could also be the answer at third for when Rendon gets hurt. He could start the year at short if they feel like Neto was rushed. He can fill in, or they could have him play second, move Ren Giffo around. He's a California kid. And Sandlin just gives him more bullpen depth. I mean, I like adding more. I like adding Stevenson, and Estevez is solid, but that was my thought.
Bieber and Freeman, you said maybe Sandlin to push it.
Yeah.
But you're getting Drury and Ward?
Yes.
I feel like that's probably not enough for both.
I just wonder if, like I said, that maybe they could then jump out and sign JD Martinez to be that full-time DH or something like that.
Yeah. I think if you want to get both of those guys on your team, I think you got to get a little bit more, because the thing with Bieber is we're already seeing that there's just not a lot of market for him out there right now. So clearly he doesn't have enough value in this deal. And I don't think Freeman and Sandlin do enough for them to give you both hitters. I know Drury's only got 1 year left, but who's the centerpiece for Taylor Ward in this trade? Because
Bieber.
Yeah. See, I think if that was possible, Cleveland might have done it already.
No, I agree.
I don't think.
I guess I'm trading more from how they value him than maybe his actual value. Like the value it would take for them to trade him more than what the value appears to be presenting right now involving him.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that. I mean, I could see that trade working for just Taylor Ward straight up if you drop Drury, but I don't think it's enough for both, because those are two above average hitters, and I know you're saying they can go out and sign somebody, but I think those two guys have more value in a trade than, because we clearly see Bieber doesn't have a lot of value right now. So I'm going to shoot you down on that one. All right. We got the Astros to go. We have the team formerly known as the Oakland Athletics, and we have the Mariners, which is going to be a weird one. And then we'll have the Rangers all coming up as we wrap up. Not our last, because it's our second to last. We'll explain a little more about that later, but our second to last Let's Make a Deal podcast. Before we get into more trades, you can make yourself a great deal at Gametime. You know why? Because they have last-minute tickets to every event you can think of. Flash deals. It's a super easy way to buy tickets in your area and find the best prices. I'm taking my wife to the Kelsey Brothers bobblehead game, Cavs game on March 5th. Actually, that's right when we get back from spring training. We're going the next day. I found those tickets on there because they were a hot commodity. Everybody wants to see the Kelsey Brothers right now, obviously. So I don't know if you can get tickets on Gametime to the newly presented, Billy Joel and Rod Stewart concert that everybody felt let down on the announcement at Cleveland Browns Stadium. You'll probably be able to find those tickets there, and you'll be able to find great deals with the Gametime guarantee, which gives you 110% of the difference if you find tickets in the same row and section for less. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Right now, all Gametime users get $100 off the big game ticket with code Vegas100. Terms apply. Download the Gametime app and use code VEGAS $100, $100 for $100 off a big game ticket. If you're not going to the game, use our code LOCKDOWN for $20 off your first purchase. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. All right, Jeff, the Astros. Weird one.
You never gave your small trade on the Angels, I was realizing.
I gave that one up because it was Jose Tena for Cam Minacci, which I don't know why the Angels would do that. But
okay, I just someone was going to ask, so I just wanted to make sure we had our bases covered.
I would love to get Cam Minacci in one of those deals that you presented to. So my Astros targets, they have some interesting players that could be of interest to Cleveland. Mm-hmm. Zach DeCenzo, who's an Ohio State player
on my list.
Yeah, he had a kind of a breakout year last year, and they may not be interested in trading him because who knows what's going to happen with Alex Bregman. So maybe they hang on to him just in case. Jacob Melton is a good outfielder in the minors that they could probably trade for some help now. Trey Dombrowski, who I really liked in the draft last year, is on my list. And then Chas McCormick is a guy they floated out there for pitching help last year. I don't know if they're still interested in doing that, but they floated him out last year. So my trade here is this: Trevor Stephan and Gabriel Arias for Jacob Melton. That's my first trade. I really like Melton.
That feels rich to me for Melton.
Really? You don't like Melton that much? I feel like they're not.
He's got a lot of moving parts in his swing, and he was good, but he K'd a lot in that promotion to Double-A. He was a guy who, he's got some good raw tools. I thought it was a good second round pick, but there's a reason why he's the guy still standing in that system. I'm not sure there's anything plus. I probably wouldn't do Stephan for Melton heads up right now, personally, just because every team now needs relievers, and you saw Kansas City wants to trade for relievers, Baltimore, Philly. It just there's a lot of value in relievers right now.
Yeah, I feel like Melton could be a helium guy here soon. But okay, so maybe Arias straight up for him. My other trade here is Brian Rocchio and Nick Sandlin for Chas McCormick and Trey Dombrowski. You get a minor league pitcher and you get an outfielder. You move on from Rocchio, convert him to some outfield help, and you give the Astros some bullpen help.
I feel like the other way. I think McCormick was really good last year. I would do that in a heartbeat. I just don't know. I know he was floated, and I totally agree with your assessment. And Dombrowski, he was, Parker Messick, didn't he not? He was down in the Carolina League when he probably should have been aggressively pushed a little bit more. This is a Houston special to leave advanced pitching in the lower minors and then have them produce crazy walk and strikeout rates to increase trade value.
I liked him a lot in the draft, though. I did too.
I thought that was a fantastic pick where they got him in the fourth round. He was one of might have been my best player available. I feel like McCormick has more value. How many years? Isn't it 5 years of team control? I know he's already 28. 3 years team control.
Yeah. Well, that's why I threw Rocchio in there because I thought,
how much value does Rocchio have?
It's a tough question. I mean, I was looking at it from the Astros perspective that they don't know for sure if they're going to sign Bregman long term.
He didn't make MLB's top 10 shortstop prospect list, did he? He may not be a top 100. No. He's probably not going to be a top 100 prospect anymore entering this year. And McCormick had a 133 weighted runs created plus. He was worth almost 4 wins. Had a positive defensive value in 115 games. I mean, I would I would love to add him.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll say no on that trade. And then real quickly, I had Eli Morgan for Zach DeCenzo.
I mean, I do that. I think that is a trade both sides have to think about. Right? Like
I don't know
Cleveland's
what
like,
they're doing
oh,
with
it's a
DeCenzo,
risk.
and I think Morgan would help them.
So the other guy kind of looked at for fun was Shea Whitcomb, who is not Cleveland's type at all, but hit a whole ton of home runs last year while striking out. I was trying to pull up his name here to look at the exact number of strikeouts he had because it was kind of terrifying.
Is he for sure a shortstop? Because I feel like he's
no,
probably not.
No, I don't. I think he's probably third baseman. I feel like I'm going to cough. Sorry, everyone. But he hit a combined 35 home runs last year and then struck out over 30% of the time.
He stole 20 bases too. He's a good athlete.
Yeah, good athlete. He's an interesting guy, but he's not on my mind. So mine was Alonzo Treadwell, who you and I both liked, who they took, who was hurt out of UCLA, Treadwell. Who's a big pitcher, and DeCenzo. And instead of Morgan, to me, like I like Morgan, but I feel like is he really? Because you're trying to trade him all the time. For me, I was like, can I do like Nick Sandlin and then like a second tier player in the minors, a Doug Ninkasi, a Jack Leftwich, someone that they maybe like from that tier because they do need more pitching depth. So it's a degrade in pitching depth. We get a better, maybe higher ceiling guy with Treadwell to one of those kind of tiers for pitching. And we get DeCenzo, who's big and right-handed and has great exit velocities, but is a bit further away. And they get a guy who they can slot into that bullpen because the big talk was, after adding, Hector Neris, Maton, and Ryan Stanek are probably not coming back. So they need bullpen depth. I'd be even willing to, to bring it up and make it like, I don't know if I want to say Sandlin and Morgan, but something like that. It's hey, Gaddis and Sandlin. Like Gaddis, I know people don't love Gaddis, but he's got 2 solid pitches. He's a nice depth option for a team in Houston that probably needs a little more depth.
I would say Sandlin makes sense. Would you throw in Will Dion? I feel like this is the problem with Cleveland.
I'm not willing to go with Dion. I'm willing to go Messick. I'm willing to go like that tier.
I think Messick might make sense there. I like Leftwich personally, but he did not have a good year last year, and he's had some elbow issues in the pros. That's the problem with Cleveland's pitching right now. Is it's the 3 guys in the majors. Cantillo's upside is there, but like the trade value is not quite as strong as you'd like. And then after that, it's Daniel Espino, and then you have Messick and Dion, and that's kind of it. They don't have a whole lot to trade from in their pitching depth right now, and they need to hang on to who they have until they figure out. Like all those guys right now, their value is kind of low. Like Ninkasi right now to me is, as much as I like Doug Ninkasi in the draft, I just don't see the value. But I would be interested in that trade for sure. But I think it depends on who you're going to give him pitching wise. We can probably squeeze in the Athletics here really quick before we move on. But I have the team formerly known as the Athletics. I have one trade, and it's just for Brent Rooker. I have Tyler Freeman and Leftwich. I did throw Leftwich in here because he seems like a kind of pitcher that Oakland would like, but I realized the value. The problem with Leftwich is kind of much as I like him is I think he's probably a reliever, and he's also 25. And he like I said, he wasn't great last year, and he's battled some arm issues. So I don't know. The upside here seems limited, but Tyler Freeman to me long ago felt like an Oakland A's target, and they don't have any answer at well, I guess second base right now is spoken for. Well, no, they have Geloff at second. I know you didn't really love, but they don't have an answer at third or short. Like they have Abraham Toro, and they have right now their projected opening day shortstop is Daryl Hernandez. I don't know who that is. So yeah, they have Lemis Diaz. So yeah, Brent Rooker for Freeman and Leftwich.
So my trade is you like Rooker, I like Ryan Noda more. So I want Noda and their comp B pick, which I think is like in the 70s. And the comp B pick isn't sexy. This is a team that maybe would be willing to talk guys who are closer. So for Noda, who is always a big, strong kid, lots of power at University of Cincinnati, took him a while to kind of figure out the swing, but a lot of his contact profile stuff is very positive. Hard hit, sweet spot, all that stuff. Getting the comp B for Valera and Freeman because Valera stuck behind Florial, but for Oakland, hey, they get a guy who they can move right into the outfield and a guy who, it's like by midseason, Valera should be in their outfield with as bad as they are. It's you're looking at Valera, Noda, and a year ago they would have done Valera for Noda, right? And then comp B, Freeman. I mean, Freeman was drafted around the comp B, but they're getting 2 for sure bets for a probably selling peak for Noda, and I think his value might be a little lower than Rooker's, and that's why I'm also always trying to get a comp pick. I know everyone is shocked.
I wanted to target Oakland's comp pick in these trades too, but I felt like Oakland probably just isn't going to trade it. Like, that's my kind of feeling. That's why I didn't go after their comp pick. So
felt like you could, go over their head and be like, hey, John Fisher, you want to save money? If you trade us the comp pick, you get to spend even less in the draft. And since John Fisher is reenacting the movie Major League in real life, he would, of course, I mean, every little dollar. And he was the only owner who was like, I'm not going to pay minor league players at all, until everyone during COVID said, we're going to do it. And he got forced to. I mean, he is.
Would he have to pay? Okay, would George Valera come cheaper this year than the comp B pick?
Probably,
because I guess your comp B pick is getting over $1 million, and Valera at best is making the league minimum. So yeah, you're right. He would save money in the short term, not the long term.
But yeah, I mean, and as much as people
doesn't care about the long term, really,
it's you do not have the worst owner in baseball, because John Fisher is a hideous human being.
Yeah. Sign me up for both those trades. I mean, comp pick, great. I think Valera's stuck here, and I just think he needs a new.
Especially after Florial. Like, isn't Valera and Florial the same player, but Valera's not as good of an athlete?
Yeah, Florial's a center fielder, and Valera is definitely not a center fielder. That's the only difference. And I don't think you go out and acquire. Not that I think that Florial for sure is a guaranteed. They're gonna give him a chance for sure, but I don't think there's no guarantee how long you're going to stick with him, and I don't think you do that if you think that Valera is going to make an impact this year. I think they're definitely the hourglass is starting to tip on him.
What did you think he would be traded? So I'm just
trying to help
you out, dude.
I got 3 weeks. Yeah, that was my hot take this offseason. Shocker, the stove hasn't been working for Cleveland unless you count Austin Hedges and Scott Barlow. That was a trade. I'll give yours a thumbs up. Freeman and Leftwich for Rooker. Yes, no, maybe so.
I'll give it a thumbs up. There's that part of me that goes, wasn't Rooker their all-star? And I wonder if there's any degree of like, we got to hold on to our all-star.
When John Fisher's your owner, you don't.
We got to have. I mean, he was he's still cheap, and we got to have someone to put on to sell tickets.
And Rooker's not nailed down. So, plus he's 30, isn't he? In his 30s already, Rooker. If he's not in his 30s, he's pretty close. He's 29. He's gonna be 30 this year. So
okay, I would have guessed he was younger than that. So.
He'll play. Okay, he'll play all year at age 29. He's not going to be 30 until the season's over. So 29. But he's a DH. Like at 29 a DH, basically just dump him if you're Oakland, because get the value now. All right. Well, speaking of value, the Mariners, they're trying to find hitting. Cleveland's trying to find hitting. I have no idea how that's going to work out. The Rangers, I have a blockbuster with the Rangers. I'll spill the beans on that now. That is my blockbuster. Going to explore those trades here coming up in just a little bit.
We want to take a second and talk about our good friends over at FanDuel. The NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. It's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use, and there's so many different ways to bet, like live same game parlays, find bets in the new Explore tab, make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, the best way to find parlays, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon today. I'm going to go to FanDuel right now. Let's go see what FanDuel does on here. Can we find anything about MLB very quickly? Well, I don't want this to run on. So it is a very easy to navigate. I can see exactly where I need to go to the sportsbook to get there. Check it out for yourself over at FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL.
I wish the trades with the Mariners were layups. This is a hard one to figure out, but I know they have a player you've been dying to get your hands on. That is Dominic Canzone, an Ohio kid, Ohio State, right? Canzone, was he Ohio State? Okay.
Yep, he was Ohio State.
Trying to get your hands on him. And the Mariners have a comp pick, 69 as well, not far away from Oakland. So I think The Mariners, in order to get offense, they might be willing to give up that comp pick. I have 2 easy trades here. My first is Gabriel Arias for Dominic Canzone. I don't think Canzone is starting the year for the Mariners in the outfield, and Gabriel Arias
really knocked him out.
Yeah, so if they're not going to have Canzone, maybe they should trade him. Currently, the Mariners project now, again, roster resource is good for information. I don't know for sure projections 100%. But right now, Luis Urias is their third baseman and Josh Rojas is their second baseman. I would be willing to put Gabriel Arias in front of both those guys. Urias
was okay for Milwaukee.
But again, they're not. If Canzone is not starting the year in the majors, I would be willing to take a chance on Arias for Canzone. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I have no issues with that one at all. I guess for me, it's just like if he's not your shortstop, who's your? I guess you're just throwing Rocchio in and running with it,
or am I trading Rocchio to the Mariners? Maybe too, because I have another trade. I have Rocchio to the Mariners for Canzone and the comp B pick. So that way you get the comp B pick and you're getting an outfielder. I feel like Rocchio has more than enough value to grab both of them. The question is it too much for Cleveland? But again, we keep questioning how much value Rocchio even has.
Yeah. I mean, I would do that one as well. That does not scare me off. What was that?
Is it too easy of a trade for Cleveland getting the comp and Canzone?
I mean, some people still really like Rocchio. I mean, heck, it was Keith Law had him still like 25th mid-year last year.
He's still a top 100 some places. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just, and he's been one of those guys who's been loved forever. So it's just a matter of finding the right situation.
If he's
right person
suffering from some post-process, from some
fatigue for sure.
Yeah, prospect fatigue for sure. Okay, what do you got? I know you want Canzone. Who do you got?
Well, actually, I wasn't going for Canzone at all.
Okay.
So yeah, I actually like the depth of this system. I like Zach DeLoach they added back in. I like DeLoach. Teddy McGraw was an interesting guy out of Wake. Was it Walter Ford, who they took 2 years ago? Vanilla Missile.
That's my guy.
It is interesting. I also kind of like Jonathan Claes, who's like really blocked there, who's the switch hitter with some speed and power. So I was trying to figure out what makes sense. And a year ago, Seattle fans got really mad at me. And listen, I love the passion of the Seattle fans. The fact we're mentioning them means this podcast is going to get like 200 extra views just because that's how passionate this fan base is. But everything I stated last year about the lack of depth ended up being true. And, Sam Haggerty, Dylan Moore, those are not great pieces. Those are some of those.
Who you give him? Who's Cleveland getting?
So I want to kind of be a little crazy. And I want to do Rocchio and Freeman. I'm going to go all in on Arias as the shortstop. And if that doesn't work, then Jimenez and Brito. And I just want to clear up some of this. And I feel like, Rocchio is probably better at second base anyways, long-term, and could be an upgrade for them next to,
so who's coming back in return?
And Crawford. So I want the comp B. I want the Vanilla Missile. And sorry, I got too many tabs open here. Comp B, Vanilla Missile. And I would also like to get Tyler Locklear, who is another right-handed bat who has hit really well in the minors. There's always been a question of like, is he going to hit well enough? Small school guy. So you're trading 2 players who have points who've been number 1 in Cleveland system. Now that doesn't really mean anything right now, but there's still value in those 2 guys who could help that team this year. For some guys who are blocked, aren't quite there. So it's Vanilla Missile, Tyler Locklear, who I believe are both second-round picks in 2022, and then that comp B pick.
I'm in. Yeah, count me in. I tried to do a trade with Josh Naylor to the Mariners because there were some rumors they were interested. I just couldn't find anything there, but
it's hard for this team to take the hit on trading a bat.
It is. That was always going to be a long-term play if they did that. All right, Rangers, before we wrap this up. My targets for Texas were Leody Tavares and Justin Foscue. I've got one name I didn't put on there. I'll tell you in a second. But my first trade is Bieber and Sandlin for Leody Tavares. Straight up.
I just don't think Cleveland does that. Like Tavares has at best you're getting like a league average bat.
League average.
I know at best.
A league average. Okay. Miles Straw is miles below a league average bat.
I know, but like I think
they're moving Shane Bieber's money, and Nick Sandlin also gives you controllable relief.
I just don't think Cleveland's. I think the reason we haven't traded Bieber is because they're not willing to take like Leota Tavares straight up for him. So I think that's
if anything, I think it's the Rangers who wouldn't do this deal, not Cleveland. I think Cleveland would do this.
I don't think either team does it. I think Cleveland would rather. I think because I just think like if you're Cleveland, Tavares is already 2 years in. He's he is what he is. He's a solid defender. He's plus Miles Straw.
Yeah. All right, so that's a no. Real quick, Bieber and Class A for Adolis Garcia. Because let's be honest, Wyatt Langford's going to be up this year. The Rangers need an ace reliever.
That's not enough for Cleveland.
Adolis Garcia's got multiple years of control. He is a known commodity in the outfield. He's a good defender.
He's going to be 31 this year, and he's I don't care. I don't think it's a one that's going to age.
He's still got 4 years
well.
Control,
he's hitting. He's hitting his arbitration. He's 6'1", 205.
3 years of control. He's got 3 years of control. He's a 30 home run hitter. He's a good defender.
What are the home away splits? I just think that Class A's control is so valuable that Class A right now.
Garcia. You could get
if not
quantity,
a little more
quality. I think.
And I don't think Texas also tells you no, because I don't think they're trading Garcia.
That I could agree with. You're okay.
Last year.
You got a point on the splits, by the way.
It's pretty massive as I recall.
Split, 9.59 at home. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna back off a little bit. All right, real quick before we get out of here, your Texas trade. I know you had a good one.
I was gonna I was looking at you and I debated Foscue before. This team needs more right-handedness in any form. So when I look at Texas, overall what they need is some pitching to help them out. So I was just gonna try to see what I could put together. Maybe you could interest them in it's the big debate for me of like, how much do I want to pay? What are they willing to give up? And it's like, do we talk Cantillo here? Do they need a little more, someone who could step in quickly in case some guys aren't healthy? Is there a world where I could try to get a little bit more? And then my idea for maybe a crazy trade would have been to offer Logan Allen for Tavares and Foscue, because then they get someone who can help, and bringing in Tavares, bringing in Foscue could be two bats that help right away for, arguably your weakest starter. But what has not been weak is everyone who's joining us every single day on the show, rating and reviewing, coming, and helps. Already thanked our everydayers at the start of the show. But I know Kurt and Bruce, I'm sure, will comment in this as well. Another of our constant everydayers. So thank you all for joining us, being a part of the fun. And as always, go Guardians, go.